The blood on the polished marble floor of the Blackwood Lounge did not belong to a rival gangster, a traitor, or a reckless thief who had crossed the wrong people. It belonged to a little girl. She was no older than 8. Her small shoes were soaked with rainwater. Her bright red raincoat clung to her thin shoulders, and in her trembling hands she clutched a torn stuffed rabbit whose cotton stuffing poked out through a rip in its side. The door behind her slowly swung shut. Inside the lounge, everything stopped. The men in the room were not ordinary men. Some had survived prison riots. Some had fought in violent street wars for control of the city's underworld. Others had built quiet fortunes through smuggling, gambling, and deals that never appeared on any official record. But now every one of them stood frozen, because the man sitting at the center of the room was Victor Romano. And nothing happened in Philadelphia's criminal world without his knowledge. Victor Romano leaned back in his leather chair, a glass of bourbon in his hand. The amber liquid reflected the soft light of the chandelier above. His reputation was legendary. People called him ruthless. Others called him a monster. Enemies called him the last man they ever saw. Yet now his sharp, dark eyes were fixed not on rival businessmen or armed bodyguards, but on a frightened child standing alone in his doorway. Water dripped from the edge of her raincoat. Her lip trembled. Then she spoke. "They're hurting my sister." Her voice was small, fragile, but it echoed through the silent room like a gunshot. Victor slowly placed his glass on the table. No one moved. No one breathed. Because when Victor Romano stood up, it usually meant someone was about to suffer. But this time was different. He walked toward the girl slowly, his expensive shoes barely making a sound against the marble floor. His men watched nervously. Children did not appear in places like this. Children did not walk into the headquarters of the most powerful crime boss in the city. Yet here she was. Victor stopped in front of her and lowered himself to one knee so their eyes were level. Up close, he noticed the bruise beneath her eye and the thin line of dried blood on her chin. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. "Sophie," she whispered. "Sophie Turner." Her hands shook so badly the stuffed rabbit nearly fell. Victor gently caught it before it hit the floor. He studied the worn toy for a moment before handing it back. "Tell me what happened." Sophie swallowed. "There's a man with a snake tattoo on his neck." Victor's eyes darkened. She continued. "He took my sister behind the old grocery store on Jefferson Street." A tear rolled down her cheek. "He said she has to pay our father's debt." The room grew colder. Victor knew exactly who she was describing. Raymond Slade, a brutal loan shark who thrived on desperation. Slade didn't just collect money. He collected people. Victor slowly stood up. The businessmen who had been meeting with him moments ago exchanged uneasy glances. Millions of dollars had been on the table. But Victor no longer cared. "The meeting is finished," he said. One of the men protested nervously. "But Mr. Romano, we still need to discuss." Victor turned his head slightly. The look in his eyes was enough to silence the man immediately. Then Victor looked toward his most trusted lieutenant, Marcus. Marcus Vega stepped forward instantly. "Yes, boss? Bring the cars." Within seconds, the room exploded into motion. Men grabbed coats. Bodyguards checked weapons. Victor gently placed a hand on Sophie's shoulder. "You're coming with us," he said. Her small fingers tightened around his sleeve. "Will you help my sister?" Victor didn't answer immediately, but the expression in his eyes was enough. "Yes."
이따
Rain poured over the city as 3 black SUVs sped through the streets of Philadelphia. Inside the first vehicle, Sophie sat beside Victor, wrapped in a warm blanket Marcus had found. She watched the blurred lights pass by the window. "Are you a bad man?" she asked quietly. Marcus almost laughed, but Victor simply looked forward. "That depends on who you ask. Are you going to hurt the man who took my sister?" Victor's voice was calm. "Yes."
이따
The alley behind the grocery store was dark and narrow. Trash cans rattled in the wind. Under a flickering streetlight, Emily Turner lay on the cold pavement. Her face was bruised. Her breathing was shallow. Standing over her was Raymond Slade, a tall man with greasy hair and a tattoo of a coiled snake crawling up his neck. 3 thugs stood nearby. Slade grabbed Emily by the hair and forced her head up. "Your father owed me money," he sneered. "Debts don't disappear when people die." Emily winced in pain. "We don't have anything left." Slade laughed. "You have something." He looked at her body. "You." Then the sound of engines filled the alley. Headlights exploded across the darkness. 3 SUVs rolled to a stop. Car doors opened. Men stepped out. Raymond Slade's smile vanished instantly, because the man walking toward him was Victor Romano. Slade's face turned pale. Mr. Romano." Victor didn't respond. He simply walked to Emily and helped her sit up. Then he took off his expensive coat and placed it around her shoulders. "Are you hurt badly?" he asked. Emily nodded weakly. Victor then turned toward Slade. The air seemed to freeze. "You threatened a child tonight. Victor said quietly. Slade tried to laugh. She got in the way. Victor moved faster than anyone expected. His hand shot forward and grabbed Slade by the throat, lifting him off the ground. Slade's feet kicked helplessly. You misunderstand something, Victor said softly. This city belongs to people who follow certain rules. Slade choked. I didn't know she was connected to you. She isn't. Victor's grip tightened. But that doesn't mean she's yours. Marcus and the other men quickly disarmed Slade's thugs. Victor dropped Slade to the pavement. Leave Philadelphia tonight, he said. If you're still in this city tomorrow. He didn't finish the sentence. Slade didn't need him to. The message was clear. Slade scrambled to his feet and ran. Nice him. Later that night, Emily woke up in a private medical room inside Victor Romano's estate. A doctor had cleaned her wounds. Sophie sat beside her, asleep in a chair. Across the room, Victor stood near the window overlooking the city lights. Emily watched him quietly. You didn't have to help us, she said softly. Victor turned. His face was calm. Your sister walked into the most dangerous place in this city, he said. She asked for help. He looked at Sophie. Courage deserves an answer. Months later, Emily found work. Sophie returned to school. Their lives slowly rebuilt. Victor never asked for payment, never asked for loyalty, because sometimes the greatest power a person can have is the power not to take advantage of someone who has nothing left. Life lesson. True strength is not about fear, violence, or control. Real power is the ability to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Sometimes kindness comes from the places we expect it least. And sometimes one brave decision can change everything. If this story touched your heart, consider supporting the channel Whispers of Wisdom. Like the video, share it with someone who loves meaningful stories, and subscribe so you never miss the next powerful story. Because every story carries a lesson, and sometimes those lessons stay with us forever.
Please subscribe to Whispers of Wisdom and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next one. Thank you for being here.